Hello, welcome to this session on contemplative prayer and silence. I hope that you've all had a really good week. I hope that you have been practicing your contemplative practice. Certainly, I'm finding myself very rooted and grounded in it every day as we walk through these days, these weeks of being self-isolating. Tonight we're going to do three short things. We're going to start with a body scan, which I believe is very, very important in helping us feel rooted and grounded and breathing into any place of anxiety or tension that we're carrying within us. We're going to follow that with a short meditation that I wrote based on the story of Elijah, one of my heroes of faith, one of my biblical heroes. And we'll finish it by doing a short contemplative sit, a short contemplative silence where we learn to be still and know that He is God. So just wherever you are, I want to welcome you again and thank you for joining us. The body scan was developed by the UCLA Mindfulness Awareness Program, and I spoke to a very good friend of mine this week, Anna, who's actually a psychologist, and she said that in psychology they use the body scan as a really powerful tool to help people feel grounded. And you know, in our bodies, we're made up of spirit and soul and our minds and our body. And I've found in my own journey that it's so important that we integrate all four of these aspects of who we are. I was running one morning and I've actually started running again just recently because I feel like, first of all, I need to do it for my body, but I also need to do it for the health of my mind. It keeps me feeling very healthy and very, just positive considering everything that's going on in our world at the moment. And so the body scan is a very important way of helping us settle into our being and helping us settle into the present moment. Oh yes, I was telling you, I was running this one morning and I remember thinking about all four of these aspects, the mind, the soul, the spirit and the body. And knowing that they're all so connected and how important it is that we feel connected with each aspect and that each aspect of us is healthy in that area. So I just want to invite you now just to close your eyes. Join me in closing your eyes and take in a very deep restorative breath. Take in a very deep breath from your tummy and let it go. Now with your eyes shut, I'm just going to read you through this body scan, just to help you feel grounded in your being and just to help you also be aware of the present moment. We can't do anything about the future and we can't change the past, but we can learn to be still and be present to this moment. This is all we have. So join me in taking another deep breath and releasing it gently through your mouth. Now I invite you to bring your attention to your body. You might be sitting down, you might be lying down, wherever you are, bring your attention to where you are. Keep your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you, or you can open them. Notice where your body is seated. Feel the weight of your body on the chair or on the floor. Take another deep breath, feeling the weight of your body. Notice your feet grounded on the floor. Notice the solidness of the floor beneath you. Notice the pressure Maybe you're cold, maybe you're warm. Notice your legs sitting on the chair. Notice where you're holding any tension in your body. Take a moment here to notice that. Breathe into that place. Bring your attention now to your tummy, to your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a deep breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense? Are they tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your neck and your throat. Let them be soft and relax them. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole body present to this moment. Take one more deep breath in. And release it slowly. Be aware of your whole body the best you can. Be present to this moment. Now, if you'd like, you can open your eyes or you can keep them closed. I'm going to share a story with you. It's a story I wrote, and it's based on one of my favorite characters in the Bible. He's a man called Elijah, and he was known to be a prophet, a mighty prophet. Now, I realize some of you watching might not have a faith, and if you don't know much about Elijah, just know that he was this awesome man of God who did mighty things for God. And what I love about Elijah, in fact, when I visualize Elijah in my mind's eye, I often think of him as Hagrid. I don't know if any of you've watched that film, Harry Potter, but I often see Elijah as this kind of big, gruff, grumpy character. What I love about him, and what I love about this story that I'm going to read to you from 1 Kings, which is a chapter in the Bible, for those of you who aren't really familiar with the Bible. What I love about him is he's had this massive experience with God. He's had this massive, powerful experience where he's really gone to battle for God, where he's really stepped out and, we follow the story of Elijah being on top of this mountain called Mount Carmel. And there's a bit of a fight going on between Elijah and this rival, let's call them the gang, who worshipped a false god, the god of Baal. And Elijah thinks that he's on his own in this battle. And the story goes on to share about how he slays 500 prophets, and he comes down the Mount Carmel. And we kind of pick up the story there. And that's the part of the story that I really resonate with. I really love this story because through this experience, you realize that this very godly, powerful, strong man was actually human. And I love the humanness of Elijah. I love the realness of the man that he was. I remember growing up, and my mom used to use this acronym, which was just HALT. And HALT stood for, don't allow yourself to become too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired. And we get to this part in the story where Elijah comes down after this massive battle, and he finds himself hungry, angry, lonely, and pretty tired, as we say in Britain, shattered. And he goes into what I would imagine is something that I've experienced myself quite quite a few times, which is a bit of a self-pity party. Oh, woe be me. And he's feeling really sorry for himself, and he's feeling a bit, very grumpy probably. He's hungry, he's angry, he's lonely, he's tired. And God invites him to go on this 40-day walk across to this other mountain called Mount Horeb. And I wrote this story, this little meditation based on that. And so I'd like to invite you now to close your eyes, and I'd like you to listen to this story that I've written, not just with your ears, but with your heart, and try to visualize this. Try to imagine yourself feeling perhaps some of the emotions Elijah has felt. Maybe what I've said is resonating with you even now. Maybe you've had these amazing experiences in your life, but then afterwards you're just crushed by depression or loneliness, or you thought something is going so amazingly well in your life to find out actually you're lonely, or you're a bit angry, or you're a bit hungry, and you're a bit tired, and it's time to halt. So I invite you now to close your eyes, and I'm going to read this over you. And I would just like you to try and engage with this the best you can. So I'm going to read you a little bit from the Bible. It comes from 1 Kings 19, verse 11. Now, I'm just going to set the scene for you. Elijah's walked for 40 days across this desert, and he now finds himself standing on the side of this mountain, Mount Horeb. And he's probably thinking, what on earth? I would be thinking. I don't know exactly what he was thinking, but I'd be thinking, what am I doing here? Why have you led me to this place? So we're going to pick up the story then. So close your eyes and let me read you this story, and try to imagine the emotions, or maybe you're even feeling these emotions right now. The Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. Oh, sorry. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. Imagine yourself in this scene. Imagine you're Elijah, or you're watching this like on a television screen. Elijah had just faced his biggest battle yet. He was exhausted, running for his life, lonely, fed up, and in desperate need to hear from God. He had just walked for 40 days to Mount Horeb after defeating the prophets of Baal. The challenge had been huge, but together with God, he had been victorious. And now he felt spent, totally and utterly done. Do you ever feel like this? Do you ever feel that you have given God your all, your best, and now you're wearied by the task? Do you ever feel that life has somehow got out of control, and that you are simply reacting to life events rather than from a place of peace and simplicity? Life is noisy. Life is busy. So often we find ourselves rushing from one thing to the next without much thought, or really being fully aware of what we are even doing. It's so important for us to take time each day away from the busyness and the demands that we and life put upon us. Like Elijah, we need to hear the still, small voice that comes from spending time alone with God. Perhaps there are some areas you want to invite him into now. Perhaps there are areas that are unresolved in your heart. Maybe you're expecting God to do something that he has not done, and your heart is hurt. Invite him into that place now. Ask him to speak to your heart in that still but powerful small voice. Take time out with him and ask him to lead you where he'd like you to be. Let's pause here for a moment. Let's invite him into those places. Before we move on to our silence, I'm just going to pray a brief prayer over you. Abba, thank you that I can always come and sit in your presence. I invite you now to speak to me in a way that I understand and lead me by your peace. Help me to lay down any negative emotions I may have and allow you to heal my heart. Amen. We're now going to follow this with our short contemplative silence. And if you've never done a silent sit before, if you've never done a contemplative silence, there's just 3 small steps that we take, we journey together. One is that we set an intention for our practice, for our time of sitting and being still before God. And that can be anything that you might be pondering upon or worrying about or feeling anxious about. Maybe, for example, you want to find some more peace in your life, in your heart, in your inner world. Maybe you're worrying about what's going on in the world out there, and you're wanting to set an intention for healing for what's going on in the world today. I'm such a tactile person, so normally when I set my intention, I like to hold up a stone before God, before Abba, and I just hold it before him and I say, the intention of my heart today is for healing of people's minds and hearts during this challenging time. And I lay that down before him, and I lay the outcome before him, because he holds the outcome in his hands. So I partner with him in that. Next, you might want to choose, I invite you to choose a sacred word or a short phrase. And your sacred word can be something that is rooted in your faith, or it can be something, an emotion or a feeling that you feel you're lacking in this moment. So again, it might be peace, or it might be trust. Maybe you need to find more trust in your life, trusting more in God and his provision for you or guiding you. A very good friend of mine who is, I think, watching tonight, she taught me this beautiful short phrase, and so today I'm going to anchor my practice in this short phrase, and we work with our breath. That's the third point. We work with our breath. So we root ourselves we've set our intention, we find our sacred word or our short phrase, and the short phrase, for any of you who want to follow along tonight, that my friend Susie told me, is peace of God, guard my heart and mind. And so the way that we will do that is on the in-breath, we'd say, peace of God, and on the exhale, we'll say, guard my heart and mind. But we say that silently to ourselves. So I just want to invite you now, I'm going to set my clock. We're going to sit for 6 minutes. So close your eyes. Get comfortable. I hope you're already comfortable. I hope you're not in a car, by the way. That wouldn't be very good to be driving with your eyes shut. So I invite you now to set your intention before Him in the quiet of your heart. Maybe you need more peace. Maybe you need more trust. Maybe you need more faith. And see yourself setting that intention down like a feather on a pillow. And remember, we're not here to not think thoughts. We are going to think thoughts. Normally when I'm sitting in silence, I'm worrying about what I'm going to cook for dinner that night. The idea is to create space around the thoughts so the wisdom of Abba, the Holy Spirit, can rise up within us. We create space so that we give Him more space within us. Having set our intention and chosen our sacred word, let's begin. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Setting your sacred word like a feather on the pillow. Peace of God. Guard my heart and mind. Remembering to breathe. Coming back to your sacred word or phrase. Peace of God. Guard my heart and mind. Being aware of your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Coming back to your sacred word. Laying it like a feather on a pillow. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Coming back to your sacred word. Peace of God, guard my heart and mind. allowing the thoughts to pass, bringing your mind and your heart back to your sacred word and your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Gently coming back to your sacred word. Peace of God, guard my heart and mind. A few more breaths in and out. Well done. That was 6 minutes. Maybe you'd like to keep your eyes shut for a moment more and scan your body and your heart. How are you feeling? Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being part of this community. It's a privilege to be able to be with you, sharing with you. And just know that if you have any questions, you can either send me a message here on Facebook, or you can email me at hello@i61collective.com if you have any questions. But for now, I'm just going to finish by saying the Serenity Prayer, which is a prayer that I think is very apt for the times that we're living in. So I invite you to close your eyes. And if you know it, you might want to repeat the words wherever you are. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Be well, friends. I would love to encourage you to take up the contemplative silence, contemplative prayer. There's some notes in on the link that I've added, just reminding you to set your intention, to choose your sacred word, and to breathe. So I hope that you'll take up this practice and try and stick with it on a daily basis. It's incredibly healing, and it's a beautiful journey. God bless you, and I hope to see you soon.